I still can't get over how short that doggone intro is. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Silverline Silver Sunday. This is October 19th, 2025. I'm your host, I'm Roland, and I'm joined, as usual, by that man in the mask guy, Mr. Mike W. Belcher. Say hi, Mike.
Howdy, everybody. How's everybody going on this nice Sunday afternoon or evening for us?
That's right. And, of course, we are joined, as always, by Thomas Flormont Jr., who's just enjoying the freezing 70-degree weather.
I know. It's cold for Florida.
You poor
It is
thing.
cold.
Hateful.
Way cold.
Hateful.
I had to wear 2 jackets today when I went outside.
My Alexa just told me that it was 68 degrees outside. So, yeah.
You're a few miles north. I mean, you're way to the west of me, but you're a few miles north.
Well,
Yeah.
49 degrees in Kentucky doesn't feel sorry for you. So,
Yeah. Tell me, you got some like auto zoom thing on? You got an auto zoom thing going now? It looked like your camera just kind of auto zoomed on you. I think you do. Look at it. It's moving with you. That's pretty weird. And, of course, we are joined by the regular annoyance himself, Mr. Tom Mason.
Hey, everybody. I'll try not to pick my nose as much this week.
At least we'll shut your camera off, right?
Oh, I can do that?
We are joined by 2 incredibly special guests, one of which, I'm going to embarrass him here online. I've been after this guy for about 2 years. And he keeps telling me, I don't like doing those things. I don't really. Mr. Kelley Jones. Say hi,
I
Mr.
love
Kelley
doing
Jones.
these things. Roland's a liar.
That surprises no one.
That's
So-
true.
Oh, from a million years ago. Yes, I remember that.
I was going to
Look
say,
at that
do you remember this one right here?
Yeah, I remember that from
Yeah,
a million years ago.
All of you folks trying to figure that out, that's gravestone number 4.
Yeah.
I think I did didn't I do the inkings?
You sure did. You on the cover? I don't know if you did.
No,
the
that
cover.
was me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know you did the interiors, Tommy, though, because
Yeah, Kelly wouldn't let me. You asked him, can Thomas ink it? And he said, no,
I said,
I'm not
no
letting
way.
you ink
No
it."
way.
so,
Well, that was after all the laughing, right? All the laughing.
That's Who's the Thomas guy?
and of course, Kelley is joined by his creative collaborator, Mr. Matt Wagner. Say hi, Matt.
Hey guys, thanks for having us on.
Oh, wait.
Hey.
Roberta. Hey, Roberta.
Hi.
Woo!
Welcome.
Roberta's here, everybody. Say hi. Woo.
Hey Roberta.
Hello.
So most of the folks who are tuning in to watch us, you guys know exactly who Matt and Kelley are. But let's still introduce them anyway. So one of the things that we like to talk about on here, and I missed the last time that Matt was on. So did you guys ask him the questions? What was the first comic you remember reading?
we might
Do not remember because
I don't
I
think
started so very young. My mom was an English teacher, and it just always encouraged me to read, and it worked to this day. I'm a very fast and voracious reader.
Nice.
And I was an only child. I was born kind of late in my parents' lives, and this is in the days before we had much video entertainment. So I drew to entertain myself, and comics were drawing and reading all in one gorgeous little package.
And certainly we didn't have any internet back then, did we?
No. And, unlike a lot of English teachers of her generation, she didn't mind that I was reading comics. So long as I was reading, that was good enough for her. And in those days, they had at the point of purchase at the checkout lane in the grocery store, now where they have the rack of all the shitty tabloid stuff, National Enquirer and Us Magazine, all that stuff. They'd have a rack of Classics Illustrated comics. And she would buy me those very regularly. So that was my first exposure to Dickens and Shakespeare and Robert Louis Stevenson, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Nice.
In fact, I recently read, about 2 years ago, I read Ivanhoe by Sir Walter Scott.
Sure, yeah.
Which is holy cow, is that thing dense. But I still had my Classics Illustrated version. So as I would get through a section, I would go read that page in the Classics Illustrated version. That was a neat bit of nostalgia.
You ever see how faithful they were, right?
Yeah, they were very
Yeah.
faithful. The
Yeah.
thing that would always crack me up is the printing was so shitty. The registration, the color would be over here, the line where it could be over here.
Yeah. Yeah, but they probably printed, hundreds of thousands of those things and didn't care beyond the first 5,000 of them, Yeah, okay, we don't care. Just run them out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the one thing they did is they kept those things in print.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could find the same one everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah. Kelley, what about you? What's the first comic you remember reading?
Fantastic Four 83, Shall Man Survive?
Oh,
Had the Inhumans fighting Maximus in it.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah. I remember it because I'd never read a comic before, like what you're saying. Did you ever read one?
Right.
And my first exposure was Kirby, and I still have it to this day. I mean, it was.
You still have that copy, that very copy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Is it now? Here's a big question for you. Is it folded in half?
No, actually, no. It was my parents were collectors, right? Antiques and various things. So they took care of things, and they would show me how you take care of stuff, and so I did.
Wow, so it's still in pretty good shape then, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
As good as it was when I got it. I mean,
right. Yeah. See, we were talking a couple of weeks ago that like the first ones I remember getting, I folded in half and in half again and stuck it in my back pocket and took it to school.
When you got subscriptions to Marvel Comics in the 70s, they would fold them and
DC too.
Yeah.
I had a subscription to Kubert's Tarzan, and man, when they switched to that method and that damn thing showed up folded in half, I about had a heart attack.
Yeah. I went out. I subscribed to one of them too. I think it was the Flash of all things, and I still went out and bought the regular copy because I didn't like the folded thing.
Yeah. I mean, it was obviously trying to save on postage,
Right.
Yeah.
So I have a question for Kelley.
Okay.
If your first comic was Kirby, how disappointing was your second one?
That's funny you say that. The disappointing comic I had was, for initial reaction, disappointing, was Swamp Thing #2 by Wrightson.
Really?
Oh, I hated it. No, I hated it.
So why? Why did you hate it?
Because it was different from all the regular stuff I read. It wasn't the Avengers. It wasn't the Flash. It wasn't Batman. When I first read
Do
it.
you still have the copy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't like it so much, send it to me.
I lost the wedding ring once, and I can live with that. You just go buy another one. But I still have that, and I would be devastated because that was one of those great books where I didn't really care for it, and about 2 hours later, I went back because it bugged me. Right? The Unmen were very disturbing. I'd never seen anything like that, and then I read it again, and it was glorious. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. So. It's one of those touchstone items that you can say changed my life.
Guys, you talk about starting early. I had I don't remember this, but my parents told me about it later. We lived kind of out in the country, and again, I was an only child. And one day, to our door came, I shit you not, a traveling Bible salesman, right? And he was selling these lushly illustrated Bibles, right? So I was raised pretty. In the Methodist faith and such, and he's flipping through this Bible, and I'm identifying everything, right? Like, look, that's that, and he's like,
the images, right? The images.
Yes, the images, right? Yeah. And so then he gets to a picture of Adam and Eve in their loincloths, and I go, Dad, Tarzan.
I remember that part of the Bible.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. You're talking about disappointing. One of my first, and I really am kind of embarrassed to say this because I grew to like the artist over the time, but Invaders was one of my favorite comics. But I could not stand
Frank Robbins.
Yeah.
Yes, Frank Robbins.
Yep.
I could not stand his art at the time. I was like,
he's a mature taste. Like you learn to appreciate him as you get older. Yeah.
And I did.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, back when I was a kid reading that, I'm like, can't they put George Perez on here?
Right. The thing about that with Frank Robbins, if you go back and you look at his early Johnny Hazard stuff, where he's got that Milton Caniff, Eisner-y sort of look to him, he's a dynamite daily cartoonist.
Yeah. I agree. Yep.
His daily strips and the way he sort of apes Caniff but does a different take on Caniff.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he is.
That said, Roland, I had the same reaction when he took her with the shadow from Mike Kaluta.
Oh,
Really?
yeah,
Boy, that was a left turn. Let me tell you.
that's when I understand that sometimes people don't really care who writes and draws these things, because it's like, we lost Mike Kaluta. What do we do? Oh, here's Frank Robbins. He walked in the door. Let's get it.
Well, they were probably tired of Kaluta being so late, and Robbins was on time.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It's all business.
That's that daily strip experience. Those guys hit their deadlines.
And he invented Man-Bat, so he's cool.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Wait, did he create Man-Bat?
Yep.
Cool. All right.
All right. So next question. So, what comic was it, if you can remember, did you read that made you say, "That is what I want to do"? I've just read this comic. That is what I want to do. This for the rest of my life. This is what I want to do. Either one of you, jump in.
Kelly, you probably have a specific one.
For me, if there's anything that said I wanted to do comics, I would say it was probably reading the Warren stuff, creepy and eerie.
Okay. But
I didn't think in terms of like I would get to do superheroes. I just thought I liked that. I didn't know I would ever do it. I mean, it wasn't until later that that became like feasible. But at the time, that's the stuff I was most influenced because I knew I wasn't going to really do superheroes,
right?
Because my heart wasn't in that. I loved it, but I didn't have that aesthetic.
Yeah.
But I did love these and heavy metal and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. So
I don't have a specific issue or anything, but my parents had a one of those school memory folders, you can buy. It's like a page for every year, and there's a spot to put your school photo, your height and weight, and all that shit. Little
drop your report card in,
projects in, your report cards and such. Yep. On the grade school years, on the back of every page, it says what I want to be when I grow up. And one year, and I have to assume this was 1967, I wrote astronaut because that's the year every kid wanted to be an astronaut. Right. Literally every other year I wrote comic book writer.
Really?
Yep. At least you had a fallback job.
Yeah. I put writer because I just assumed the whoever wrote them drew them, I didn't quite realize how it was a team effort at that point.
Well, and I think I would argue probably that's a reasonable assumption because we knew the names of the folks who did Peanuts and the strips, right? But we didn't always know the names of the people who made the comic books.
Yep. Yeah. Accreditation was spotty in a lot of instances. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So next question is then, what was your first published work? Now, this doesn't have to be, with a big publisher. It can be in a zine. It can be something like that. What's the first work that you got published out there for people to see?
I did I went to two different colleges. I went to a liberal arts university in Virginia, a big place called James Madison University.
Okay, yeah.
And for the 2 years I was there, I worked for their school newspaper, which was had a pretty big circulation, came out twice a week. It was kind of an award-winning paper. And I did a comic strip for them twice a week. That was my first published work. And then I also signed on as their, at first I was just called their graphic artist. Later they called it graphics editor, which was a highfalutin term. I always say this was absolutely the best education I had because they went to press 2 nights a week, Wednesday and Sunday. I had to show up at the offices around 9:00 at night. They were in the basement of one of the dorms. And they already had the paper laid out. And wherever there was a dead space, no ad, no copy, no photo, I had to do a spot illustration to fill in there.
Wow.
And very often the editor of that section would have an idea. Like, for instance, I need a drawing of a student arguing with a landlord about a busted water main, stuff like that. And the point was, I couldn't leave till that shit was done. So for the first time in my life, not drawing because I liked to or wanted to, drawing because I had to.
Yeah.
And you were drawing
I couldn't leave. I didn't
time.
get out of there till 2:33 in the morning usually.
Yeah.
And you were drawing for a specific size at the time, right? Because
yeah. We pasted those things in right on the with a waxer. I don't know if anybody remembers what those were.
Yeah.
But for that, I got a 1 credit A per semester and $35 a month. And believe me, in 1980, I thought it was on top of the world, baby.
I could do this.
Now the comic strip was that something that the university, was that one of their concepts? Was that yours, something you did?
No, they had probably 9 or 10 different strips by students.
Okay.
One was a superhero spoof. Mine was a superhero spoof too, but one was a superhero spoof called because it was James Madison University, so it was Madison Man and Jimmy U, and just goofball, oafish superheroes. Mine was a superhero in a very called Max, and he was a squat little bald guy whose cape was too long and wore a tutu. And and in a very telling premonition of my future, I came up with a super villain that kind of eclipsed him and became the more popular star of the strip. A just chaotic bad guy whose name was Nasty Muscle.
Come on, you got to bring that name back.
That's great.
Now, have you ever collected those anywhere? Have you ever thought about them?
Nah. Now, although one of the other guys, what's his name? Tom. He did a strip called Roommates, and it's just like it sounded. It was all roommate humor, about living in the dorms and having a roommate. And he later put all those together. He asked me for a quote. He collected all those and published them years later. So
right, yeah.
I went on to better things.
Kelley, what about you?
First thing published in anything?
Sure.
I think it was Cerebus 12 or 13.
Really?
Yeah, it was in the fan page. I drew a cartoon of Cerebus. I was making fun of Canadians. And Dave Sims took exception to that and chastised me. The cartoon was good. It was a good drawing. I was pretty happy with it.
That's great.
But he was getting tired of people coming up to him and saying, "Hey." So
That's awesome.
I'm married a Canadian. She still has an accent to this day.
Yes, and so, but I loved it. I cherished that. I got under his skin because I love Cerebus.
Yeah. Oh, same. Me too. It's one of the ones I push in my class frequently. It almost never gets read, but I push it in my class all the time. I got a few comments here. Let's toss these up. Logan McCullough says, what's up, Logan? Thanks for hanging out with us.
Hey,
Jackson Runick. Jackson says, Moby Dick was one of my first classics illustrated. Boy, that was a while back. What's up, Jackson? Thanks for hanging out with us, man.
I wonder if he's talking about the first comics or the old original ones. Sienkiewicz did the first comics one, and holy shit, it is beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah,
I would guess knowing Jackson, I'm guessing this is probably the original ones.
Okay.
Not the first comics.
That's too bad, because the thing about the Sienkiewicz one is if you grew up with any of the older ones from the original publisher, and then you saw Sienkiewicz's, it's holy crap.
Yeah, it's night and day. It's a different beast altogether.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. Matthew Crecky says, hi, what's up, Matthew? Thanks for hanging out. If you got any questions for Matt and Kelley, post them and we'll get them asked. Dana Black, what's up, Dana? Thanks for hanging out with us, man. He says, so glad I found you guys tonight. Well, we are glad you found us as well, Dana. And if you've got any questions for Matt or Kelley, be sure to post them and we will get them asked.
Strangely, the original Classics Illustrated line, I'm pretty sure, did not have a version of Dracula.
Yeah. I remember.
They had a really good version of Frankenstein and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And the Frankenstein, remember, had a beautiful cover by Norman Saunders, who was a famous pulp illustrator, who also happened to do that line of 60s Batman trading cards that were kind of inspired by the TV show.
Yeah.
Those are great.
You guys may laugh. The first recollection of any kind of horror comics I have was the Neil Adams that LP he did with Frankenstein, Dracula, and Werewolf. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the Groovy Ghoulies, Roland.
No. Dana actually says here what he says. I actually had a bad dream in Savage style when I was a kid. But a great version of Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. He said funky favorites, Tom. Yeah. All right. So who's got the next question? Who wants to ask the next one?
I nominate Mike.
Hey, let's get into Dracula. I'm curious about. Let's get into what's next. What's coming up with the count. We got you on Kickstarter, and we're definitely anticipating the yearly wait. But what do we got on board?
Well, book 3, The Count, is what's currently on Kickstarter. And I've said this to people before. In some ways, this is the volume we've been shooting for since the beginning. Yeah. Because the first one covers his origins. The second one covers the origin of his 3 brides, and then takes us up to the very beginning point of the novel itself. Anybody who's read the original novel knows that one of the very frustrating things is that once the action shifts from the castle in Transylvania to the streets of Victorian London, Dracula is basically off stage for pretty much the rest of the book. Mm-hmm. The heroes are chasing him down, and they get second and third hand reports of some stuff he's doing, but we don't see him. So this one takes place in conjunction with the novel, but it is not the novel. It's showing you everything he's doing that the novel does not show, and the heroes in the novel do not know about.
So we've got 11 days to go. You guys you're pushing 2,000 backers here, which is fantastic. Oh, yeah. Anything you want to tell us about the
well, how about scan back there just a little bit? Okay. I like that incredible quote from John freaking Carpenter.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
We were both pretty psyched when we got that one in, let me tell you.
I'll bet. How did you manage that?
Through Kelley.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome.
But then we also have 2 other quotes. One from Leslie Klinger, who wrote the new annotated Dracula, and I let him read this third script, which I keep saying is literally the most intensive thing I've ever written in my entire career, because I had to make sure it fit exactly with the events of the novel. And the events of the novel are very, very analyzed and annotated, because the novel's told in an epistolary style, which means there's no omniscient narrator. It's all in the form of private letters and journals and such. But as a result, it's dated. Every action in the novel takes place on a certain day in a certain month that is notated. Mm-hmm. And so I had to make it all fit in that. And at the same time, I had to make it an entertaining story for people that have never read the novel. So it had to be both. It had to stride that line. And Leslie, luckily, he had like 1 or 2 little notes for me about think about this, think about that. But other than that, like, we got everything right. So that was a very gratifying endorsement to get. And then we got a terrific quote there as well, a little farther down, from Scott Snyder, who also loved books 1 and 2. There you go.
There we go. Right here. Yep. Yeah. Sweet.
I love that one full page that was up there just a little bit before you scroll back up. The next one. That one. Is that a Carradine nod in the corner?
I think what it is what they were doing with Universal. They were following the description of him in the book.
Yeah.
It's also, to my mind, too, it's a nod to London After Midnight.
Yeah, and London After Midnight. But the top hat, the mustache. In fact, whenever you see one of those old Universals with John Carradine, it's like exactly how he's described.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things we had to approach too is the practical aspects of him being in London, because let's face it, he's all of a sudden been transported from this very rustic, isolated castle in the Carpathian Mountains to the center of one of the biggest, most thriving metropolises on the face of the earth at that point.
Right.
That's a huge cultural shift. So we see him very much exploring this new world, figuring out how he's going to exploit it, because he doesn't just rush in with a blood orgy. He's a careful person. We see that in the novel. We see him doing a lot of planning in the novel. And we, for instance, in a practical sense, how's he get around? The Carfax, the estate that he buys via Jonathan Harker, is in an area, a suburban area called Purfleet, which is 18 miles to the east of central London. Well, how's he get back and forth? Had to figure that out. We all know the trope of the fact that a vampire must be invited in to cross into a dwelling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, London's got millions of thresholds that he's basically barred from crossing unless somebody invites him. How does he get around that? How does he make that happen?
Well, here's a question for you. Once invited, can he always go back in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Once the threshold is breached, it's open to him.
Okay.
Additionally, there's the aspect of money and commerce. He in the third book he comments a few times on the fact that the true god of the West is business and commerce. He's come from an area of the world that's highly religious and highly superstitious, whereas Britain prides itself on its rationality. They don't believe in shit like spooks and vampires and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of newness for him to traverse.
Right. Yeah.
So he's the first immigrant. He's the first horror immigrant.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I think Dracula likes to think of himself as a colonizer.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
It's beautiful, lush work. I mean,
my gosh, yeah.
This is all the books have been gorgeous.
Yeah.
This one, Kelley was really presented with a very rich tableau and a challenging one because previously we're in the mountains, we're peasant huts and castles and woodlands and and all of a sudden, boom, Victorian London.
Right.
And boy, he pulls it off tremendously. It's
a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And that's what comics are all about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, is the work all done?
No, it's ongoing, but basically the way things work is once the Kickstarter wraps for the we had the first one done in advance because we weren't quite sure that we were going for a Kickstarter, and so a lot of we had to set up our business entity as Orlock Press, and there was a lot of formulation.
Right.
But with all the succeeding volumes, basically the way it works is when the Kickstarter wraps, I start working on the script for the next book. I get that to Kelley around the turn of the year, and he starts drawing it. Yeah, then we go to press around usually the following February or March is when it goes out the door to the printer. So it's plenty of time for Kelley to get everything done.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had enough to show off here.
Right. Right.
But the thing is, Kelley and I, we're not young noobs. I mean, neither of us are given to a lot of whiny drama or anything like that. We're production horses, both of us.
Yeah. Well, we lost our virginity a long time.
Yeah.
And folks there's all kind of rewards here. So
there's all kind of rewards. Let me point out, you can still buy all 3 of the volumes.
Okay.
The Kickstarter campaign is the only place to get the hardcover editions. If people haven't seen these are European album size. They're European album size. They're 8.5 by 11, not standard American comic book size.
Right.
The campaign is the only place to get the hardcovers. Following the wrap of the campaign and when the backers get their copies, Dark Horse Comics releases a trade paperback version via more traditional retail outlets, online, your LCS, etc.
Yeah.
But if you're a hardback collector, the campaign's the only place to get those. And like I said, you can still buy all 3 with this campaign.
All right. Yeah. So if you missed the first 2, everyone, now's your chance. You can get 1, 2, and 3 with this one. It's not too late to get on.
And there will be at least a number 4 as well.
At least a number 4. Let's see here. Dana Black says, how far are we going to get into Kristen Spar? Matt?
I assume he's talking about the current Grendel series.
Yes.
Danny, you just gotta wait on that. The next part will be out next summer. So
next summer,
definitely getting more into it. Yes.
Logan says, "Fantastic work, still pouring over the brides, and still can't get the hang of those dang capes."
Oh well, that's Kelley's forte for sure.
Yeah,
one of his many. Let me say.
Yep. Dana asked Kelley, "Is there any chance of more Hammer?"
I have a lot that's not published. I am completely absorbed in the world of Dracula. So
right.
You know, that's my world.
Yeah. Madness Pops says, "Hey yo, what's up, Pops? Looks like a party. It is indeed, Pops. We're having a party here." Rory, whoa, that's a name I hadn't seen in a while. Roy Airships. What's up, Rory? Good to see you, man. He goes, "Was just at the Dominican Abbey in Sligo, Ireland, where Bram Stoker's mother lived nearby during the cholera epidemic. It's why he first thought of the idea for Dracula because of the macabre scenes."
Yeah, I mean, every creator, every author, draws upon their own personal experiences. I mean, the very much the character and physical presence of Dracula, as he's described, is based upon Henry Irving, who was the main star, the very first knighted actor at the Lyceum Theater, which was Bram Stoker's day job. He was the manager at the Lyceum Theater. And he very much had kind of a Dracula and Renfield kind of relationship with Henry Irving, who was this imperious shithead, and apparently treated him very, very badly, and was tall and aquiline looking, and seems to be obvious that was the model that Stoker was drawing upon when he described Dracula.
And then Stoker took on the role of Renfield in the relationship, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
That's awesome.
But Renfield got all the royalties, so it's okay.
Yeah. well, okay. Let me point out the book was not a big seller when it first came out.
But
I wouldn't call it a flop, but it was not a runaway bestseller.
The good thing was that Sir Henry, they did the 1 day reading of it, so he could secure copyright for Stoker, where you could go in and they would read it to the public. And there was some kind of law saying that once you do that, it gave copyright to Stoker and his descendants, which paid off later.
I think it was the media. I think it was the media copyright.
Yeah, media, and that played well for him about 30 years later, or 25 years later.
Now that said, with it not being a huge seller when it first came out, it is one of the handful of books that have never been out of print since its first publication.
Never.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when did you guys first discover the book?
Oh, a good question.
Quite young. Out of the three monster archetypes, if you've ever read Stephen King's Danse Macabre, he breaks monsters down into the three archetypes: Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman. So you have the contagion that consumes, the thing with no name, and the beast within.
Yeah.
And of the three of them, I always kind of gravitated towards Dracula. I assume it was the bat aspect, the cool looking cloaks and that kind of stuff. But I read the book pretty young. I would say 10 years old, something like that, maybe 12.
Yeah, I first got it through, it's cheating, but there was a double album set of Christopher Lee reading Dracula.
Ooh.
And that I bought when I was
they call that Audible these days, dude.
Audible. Yeah, so I bought that at a record store when I was like Matt, about 10 years old. Mm-hmm. And I listened to that, and that's what made me go get the book.
Mm. Well, it's funny you said, Matt, that it's one of the few books that's remained in print. Now, in my experience in the university, most of my students have not read a lot of the, not just Dracula, but a lot of the classic stuff. I'll spout off something that I think, oh, everybody's read this, right? Everybody at least knows this. And they look at me like, I mentioned things like James Fenimore Cooper, Last of the Mohicans, and they look at me like, what you talking about? And I'm like,
yeah, to them,
how can you not know James Fenimore Cooper? He's the first American novelist.
Roland,
this generation literature started with Harry Potter.
I went and got my wife and I went and got coffee the other day, and I made reference to The Godfather, and none of the kids that worked at the coffee shop knew what the hell I was talking about.
Oh my God!
They'd never seen The Godfather, so I go, well, how about Goodfellas? No, and never seen Goodfellas.
Wow,
isn't that just crazy?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's amazing how much. I mean, granted, they were probably born in 2000, right?
right.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I saw everything.
I knew shit from before I was born.
And I
right?
I mean, I remember seeing Casablanca when I was like 12.
Yeah,
you know?
I think
it's even weirder when you mention it to people your same age and they have no idea what you're talking about and they look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah.
That's
our school, our middle school library. So this would have been in, I want to say 73, 4, something like that. Had a copy of The Godfather, and of course, because The Godfather at that point was everywhere. It was one of the most ubiquitous books ever. And there's an infamous sex scene where Sonny has sex with the bridesmaid at his sister's wedding, and boy, that was a well-thumbed page, believe me.
I'm glad you said well thumbed.
Yeah.
Well, so the maybe where I was headed with that question too is, do you think that what you guys are able to do here is bring Dracula to maybe a new set of readers?
I think we're definitely doing that. Again, as I said, we need to appeal to those readers, and yet there are so many Dracula scholars in the world, and I don't just mean the lettered ones who have published about the subject. A lot of people who just consider themselves, I know Dracula.
Right.
So we need to pass that smell test, let's say taste test. But no, we need to appeal to people that don't know Dracula at all. But at the same time, I kind of maintain that Dracula is one of the most famous literary characters of all time.
Oh, I don't.
There's literally nowhere in the world you can't say the name Dracula and people know what you're talking about. Now they might think it might be a film version, or it might be the Count from Sesame Street.
I became,
but everybody knows,
Yeah, I became to know Sheridan Le Fanu because of the Hammer Vampire Lovers. I mean, that's why someone said it's based on a book, so I said I have to read that book.
Right. And
then I found out it was a terrific novel or short novella.
Carmilla, he's talking about.
Yeah, Carmilla, and I really, really enjoyed Le Fanu's work after that. But however they come to it, is fine.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
it's sometimes hard to get. I think it's sometimes hard to get, the new kids, the TikTok kids, to pick up something old.
Yes.
So I think that's why it's good to have a modern interpretation of the material presented in a way that reflects what they're into.
Yeah, I agree with that. At the same time, I don't know. I think this whole thing will play itself out. Everything that's new is kind of overwhelming. But stuff that stands the test of time for a reason, and people will eventually discover it on their own. I think my son, for one, he was born in 1990, and that's about the end of where his musical taste ends.
Yeah,
he loves all old music. He can't stand
mine
Beyonce
too.
and Taylor Swift,
and,
Nope, mine too.
Yeah,
they're in their 20s, and they are repelled by anything modern music, and that has nothing to do with me. That's them and their generation. And I think things swing. I mean, my oldest is reading The Count of Monte Cristo, and that is a mighty thick book. Yeah, on his own. He just said, and that was odd, Matt, because we were talking about it the other day, and he brought it up to me saying, "Hey, Dad, have you ever read this?" And I said, "Yeah, I can't find my book." And he looks at me, "Yeah, because I took it, and it's at his house right now. But as long as it's being read, I'm fine with that."
Right?
Yeah, it's a fantastic book. I like a lot of Dumas' stuff, but
I do too. I'm a big fan of Dumas, and he's just loving it. He's thinking this is so good, but he will tell me endlessly everything seems kind of weak in his time. He thinks stuff is weak, so he goes back and will read old stuff. My other son just finished War of the Worlds by Wells and thought it was
one of my.
Why haven't they made this? He always says, "Why haven't they made this?" I go, "I don't know."
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
They have a bunch of times.
Yeah,
I say it all the time.
He wanted.
Yeah.
any band that's been like around since I've been alive, I don't listen to. It's like I don't like any of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Brandon's pretty much the same way, Aiden. Yep.
Yeah.
There is one exception, though. Okay, there is one exception. It's Greta Van Fleet. No, Greta Van Fleet. You guys never heard of Greta Van Fleet?
No, I know Greta Van Fleet. Not my taste.
Yeah. Oh, well, see, I'm a big Led Zeppelin guy.
Yeah,
right?
well, I like Led Zeppelin.
All I know about
I love Led Zeppelin.
Not the knockoff.
It may be fine. All I know is the funny stuff Robert Plant says about him. That's what I know.
You should give them a shot. I heard them the first time I heard them. They did the music for had a song in Ford versus Ferrari. We were watching the movie and I'm listening to it. It sounds like Led Zeppelin, but it wasn't because I knew it wasn't Led Zeppelin. And so I looked it up when we got home and I'm like, who the heck are these kids? Right? Yeah. They were at the time, I think like 1920, something like that. That was a few years ago now, but
there's a punk band I really like called the Bobby Lees, who are very raw and real. And they have a song with the main singer-songwriter, who's a woman, really telling off the main dude from Greta Van Fleet about what.
Oh no! I would listen. I would listen to them just because of their name, the Bobby Lees. I might not like them, but anybody called the Bobby Lees, I'm gonna go listen to it.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty thick punk. It's
it's hard.
It's real fast and real loud, and boy, melodic. I just love them.
There's not real access to music the way we had it. It used to be everywhere, and now no one listens to radio. No one talks about it.
Well, there's no broadcasting. There's narrowcasting.
Yeah, there's nothing like that.
Your goddamn algorithm figures you out a little too much. And
I hate it. Where I found a lot of music I was liking that was at least to me newer was at the end of the second go around with Twin Peaks. They had a lot of cool music in it. Mm-hmm. And at the end, it would just be like they're at the club, and it would sometimes have nothing to do with the show. It was just because he liked that music. And I found a lot of good bands that way. They're obviously not big or anything like that, but they were cool. Yeah. It was always word of mouth back then too, right? Your buddy would find. I remember sleeping in the dorm one day and hearing something. It was early in the morning and hear someone jamming in the parking lot on Saturday morning, and I was so mad because it was like 7:00. And so I put on my, I got dressed and went out there. I'm going to tell them to shut up. And the closer I got, the more I'm like, that sounds really cool. Who is that? Finally, I got up to the window. I'm like, this sounds really good. Who is this? That's the way I heard Rat. Yeah, you guys might not like Rat, but I really liked Rat. I'm like,
but a lot of there's also an immediacy back in those days. With comics too. Nowadays, when you're working with the book market, you got to have a cover like 6 to 9 months in advance, and just crazy. It used to be, you got together, you put a bunch of guys together, you made a band, and you were going to do a show next week, and it's the same with comics. It used to be, you'd put together a comic and you'd get it to the printer and it would be in stores, I don't know, 3 weeks later or something like that. Right.
I used to do, when I did Batman covers, they would call on a Monday to say they needed it by Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So they would sometimes just say, well, the Penguin's on it. And so I knew I had that day and Tuesday, and then until mailing on Tuesday because it was FedEx. So I had roughly about 20 hours to get it.
Holy mackerel.
No, it was a blast.
Let's see here. Some more comments. Roy Airship says someone should write a book, The Archetypes of Archetypes, because it seems that there's so many now. Monty Python should be required in high school. I do not disagree with that.
That'd be fun.
Dana says having to explain who the elementals are. Jeez. Roy says, Matt, that's good advice. What stands the test of time? Why are there a limited number of Christmas songs that hold up, or a limited number of stories from any certain time period?
It's funny you should mention Christmas stuff because, of course, when the Christmas season rolls around, there's that cadre of the classic Christmas movies and shows, Grinch, Charlie Brown, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And my son's been on a real tear to try and discover newer Christmas movies, and there's one fairly recently called 8-Bit Christmas. I don't know if anybody's seen that. It
sounds great.
It's awesome. The kid that wants an Atari more than anything. It's like a Christmas Story where the kid wants the BB gun. Well, he wants an Atari, and it's funny and charming and goofy, just like Christmas Story was.
Yeah, for me, it was The Man Who Invented Christmas, which I was in a ball through it because the whole damn thing is about Dickens trying to make a crushing deadline.
Yeah.
So the whole audience is enjoying it, and I'm going fetal. I'm relating too much with this guy trying to come up with an
My
idea.
stomach hurts.
And then somebody's banging on the door, and someone's saying you got to do this, and it was all these distractions, and he's just trying to write the damn story so he doesn't lose his shirt. And when I came out of it, every family's all, "Oh, that was really good," and I'm like, "Oh man, I need a drink." That was rough. And then I had to explain to him that was my damn life. Now I have to get ready for if I watch that one again. You know.
The neat thing about A Christmas Story that a lot of people don't know in context is that Christmas had only been made an official holiday in the British realm a handful of years beforehand, like less than 5.
Yeah.
So Scrooge was not the anomaly. He was the traditional businessman, being told you have to let people off at Christmas. That was just like, they just viewed that as an infringement upon their rights. So that was Dickens basically telling people, look, you need to advance, you need to progress, you need to let go of the old ways and realize that it doesn't hurt you to let somebody just go home on Christmas Day,
Right.
Hey, as a young freelancer, worked on Christmas Day.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah. No, my birthday was just a couple weeks ago. I worked my birthday,
Yeah. I've done it.
Yeah. Well, it's a frequent thing for a freelancer, right? Weekend. What's a weekend?
Yeah.
But the weird thing as a freelancer, sometimes you'll have like an odd Wednesday completely off, and you'll just
no, that's a great thing.
Yeah, because you're going to the comic shop, and you're going to hang out with folks down the comic shop.
Then you go to a movie. Then you can call up all your working friends and say, "Hey, I went to the movies today at 12 o'clock. What did you do?"
Yeah.
Right. Let's see. Dana says, "Thanks for the Bobby Lee referral, Matt."
Yeah, they're a terrific band, man. Yep,
I'll have to look them up. Logan said, "Kiss, Queen, Alice Cooper, Fleetwood Mac, Heart." Yeah, all those bands. Yeah.
Okay, Kiss, first concert I ever saw.
Really?
Yeah, and it was the Dynasty tour. It was the Dynasty tour.
Okay.
And this is I was living in Virginia, so we drove over to DC to see them in one of the, I forget what the arena over in DC was. And
now, are you from Virginia originally?
Sorry?
Are you from Virginia originally?
No, my family moved there when I was in high school.
Okay, gotcha.
The best part of the whole evening, and it was a terrific concert. We loved it. But right at the end of our row, we were up pretty high, which is great because we got to see everything. We were up pretty high. The very end of our row is a middle-aged woman sitting under a pile of coats. She was obviously the chaperone along for a bunch of tweens.
Yeah.
Sitting under this pile of coats, and holy shit, did she look miserable. She just scowled through the entire concert.
Oh, that's
And that
funny.
just kind of made it from a Kid Rebellion kind of standpoint, it just made it all the better,
Yeah.
First concert for you, Kelley?
I can't remember. It was either Queen or ELO. They were right at the same time. It was 1977.
Both
Okay.
pretty great.
Sure.
Wow, you got to see Queen in 77?
Yeah, it was Queen.
Oh, man.
And ELO had this big spaceship thing. And
Yeah.
the crowd went insane. I remember that. I'd never been to anything like that. I come from a rural place too, so I'd never been in a place with bajillions of people. I was given the tickets, like, do you want to go? And I thought, okay, this sounds, and Freddie was amazing. I mean, it just was, his voice was like, he didn't need a microphone. It was opera. He was almost.
I saw him in 80.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And I remember that. And then after that, it was, just all the cool guys that would come, the Who, shit like, whoever.
Yeah.
It was big acts.
Yeah. Yeah, my first concert was the 1978 Aerosmith bootleg tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never forget that one. Agent Cub says, "What's up, Agent Cub? Glad to see you hanging out with us here." He says, "Hey, I met Matt Wagner in the green room at Phoenix Fan Fusion. I was with Marat. I'm assuming you're meaning Marat Michaels."
Yeah.
And I will say, they had a damn good green room. They had like every day they had a real nice spread of food. It wasn't just sandwiches and chips and shit. It was like, roast turkey and a real catered affair, which was like, holy cow, it's nice to be able to just slip over behind this curtain. Because when you're at a con and you're sitting in your booth, you get kind of locked in, and before too long you're getting dizzy from lack of calories, and it was just really nice to be able to slip over there and get something decent to eat. It was great.
Yeah.
Those are almost a thing of the past, aren't they? The
Yeah.
green rooms. Yeah.
Unless it's for a big function, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, everyone. I gotta go.
All right. Well, all right. I'll ask it right now.
I really
Roberta.
enjoyed the listen. You guys are great, and I'm excited, hopefully, to see that book.
Yep.
Thank you, Roberta.
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Hope you like
I'm
it.
gonna order mine soon.
All right.
Yeah.
Again, you can get all 3 still. So
There you go. Good night, Roberta. So she had a question here. She said she wants to know how Kelley approaches capes.
Okay. When it was never a thing in my life until they gave me Batman early on. I think it was Red Rain or something. And I didn't want to do what I saw everyone else doing because they're doing it. And so, but I didn't know how. I wanted the cape to be alive and stuff. And this is artsy fartsy sounding, and I'm not artsy fartsy, but I was at a department store, not even thinking of this. I was getting something else. I think it was a Matt, you'd love it. I think I was getting a KitchenAid.
there you go.
So, but
That sounds so domestic.
they had a big sale, and apparently no one was buying them. It was satin sheets, and there was black satin. So I thought, oh, that would okay. I'll get black satin. And what I did was I took it home, and I took 2 chairs and stuck them in my backyard in direct sunlight. I draped it over and got it wet, and just looked at it because it would do all these folds and stuff and whatever. And I just used that as the idea, as the jumping off point to how to do the cape. I wanted it shiny, I wanted it high contrast. And it's one of the few times I've ever had an idea like that where it worked. A lot of times they don't work. A lot of times it's like, but that one worked. And it, like I said, was a jumping point. And then to make it alive, I just think of it not as fabric, but as water.
Interesting.
So when you're out in the backyard spray painting your sheets, are the neighbors seeing you?
Well, black satin, they probably think I'm some kind of sex freak or something.
There you go. Let them.
Yeah.
It's better for you that way.
My wife, who was then girlfriend at the time, luckily, like I said, rural, no one could see it because it looked fairly strange when you drove up the drive. Like she always felt like she had to be embarrassed. But it worked. I mean, it's just one of those things that worked. And then once I saw it, I didn't need to see it again. Just knew.
Yeah.
No, what about the I think capes, I tend to gravitate towards Batman. What about the ears? What
that would be my question. Thanks.
I'm sorry, Tommy. I'll shut up. You asked the question, Tommy.
No, you did. That was it. No, I was going to say when I think of your Batman, the first thing that I see in my mind is.
Yeah.
Well, that was again, so I didn't look like Neil Adams. I didn't. You don't look like the guy that everyone's thinking of. Right. And I kept thinking, if I'm going to do this, I kept thinking of him not as this big physical presence, but as a silhouette, as a shape.
Yeah.
Like something from hell. And long ears, weird, the cape doing its thing. Really, it gave me an angle, at that time, because I'm not going to be able to compete with with the true draftsman, and I didn't want to do him just as Captain America in a cape, I wanted him just different, since he's about fear and whatnot. And again, very lucky that kind of worked.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Other people have done it on years. It's just I just made it a forefront thing.
So I read a thing one time that described Mickey Mouse as an arrangement of circles.
Yeah.
And Batman as an arrangement of triangles.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I've seen the ears. So, are you saying that there were long ears before you did it? Because I don't recall anyone doing it before you.
Wrightson did them big, not as big as Kelley does. But.
Yeah, and I remember Marshall Rogers, and there was somebody else kind of did it. for me, it was like I was thinking I was always thinking of him in the dark, not so much in any kind, because to me he was never in daylight. You know, my Batman wasn't in the GLA and going to spaceships. He was in the hours.
He could get through the door.
He was a normal guy. I mean, if he did that, then I would have addressed it regularly, because he's doing
it. Walking doing this one.
But since I didn't have to do that, and I was lucky enough at the time when they gave me the book, they said just do it your own way. They just keep doing it.
Those days are gone.
No, they're long gone. I mean, Danny O'Neill, the Warner Brothers would call Danny O'Neill and say, "Is this okay or not for the films?" That he was the top guy. Right. So when he said, "Do it the way you want," you know, I had the smarts not to say, "Am I going too far?" I just said, "Okay."
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, because you knew if you were going too far, he would tell you.
He would. He never did.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only thing he would say is what he didn't want. Like there were certain things he didn't want.
Mm-hmm.
But that had nothing to do with what I do. It was just kind of a flat what he didn't want.
Yeah. Yeah. Logan, I'm not sure I understand this question. Kelley might. He goes, what about exaggeration of musculature?
Oh,
me? What about it, Logan?
I whatever it takes to make my composition work.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's comics. I don't have to worry about it, you know?
Yeah.
I know how it all works. I've done it all. I took pre-med.
Really?
Yeah, so I saw Autopsy, so I knew how everything worked. I know where everything is. It just sometimes I want things to go a certain way. There were times I drew Batman, I didn't even think of his anatomy under it. I thought the shape, the cape, and the I didn't even care. Yeah. And some of my best stuff. It was only until another artist tried to do it, and he says, "Where the fuck is his body?" And I go,
"It's under the cape."
I said, "You know what? It's so." At that point, again, that's why I was grateful for '90s DC. You know, they let me screw with Deadman and Batman and all that kind of stuff. They never batted an eye. That was a good time, wasn't it, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we went and dug our own trench with Dracula to do that. So
yes, and it's the same feeling. It's the exact same feeling. The level of freedom that I think Matt and I knew in the 90s is what I had been trying to get back for 20 years, and I finally got it.
Yeah,
by doing it yourself.
Cool.
Yeah, by doing it yourself. Well, you guys, we don't talk too much about Marvel and DC here. Not in like a negative way. We're not one of those shows at all. We just don't talk much about Marvel or DC at all here. We're all about independent comics. That's who we are. That's what we are. And so,
well, Matt was always independent anyway, who dipped his toe in, and I was always independent because I couldn't do otherwise. So anytime
I worked with the big companies, it was always with an editor who knew, hey, leave him alone.
Yeah,
just let him do what he's going to do.
And I was lucky enough to have that too. I mean, I was lucky enough. The best editors I had later on were the ones who would say, I really didn't care for your stuff when I first saw it, and then I found that was the only way I could see the character. And then those editors would do what Matt got. They just left me alone, and they would just say, go to town.
Yeah.
The best people, if you're going to work with them in editorial in any capacity, are the ones who don't really like you at the beginning and then really like you, because then you did something to change their mind.
You clouded their mind.
Yeah, I worked with a great editor in the 05, 06, 07 at DC, who was drawing to him all the kind of outsider artists to do Batman and related things. And he was offered to be the managing editor of Batman, but he didn't, because DC was going to move out to California, and he's a New Yorker. He's just a dyed-in-the-wool New Yorker. So so he just stayed there, and I think he publishes Star Wars and Disney stuff or whatever. But he gets to be, he's a Long Island or a Bronxer and I forget now, but he is New York. I mean, But he was a great guy that way. He would let you do whatever you wanted. He didn't care.
Yeah. Editors are often unsung heroes, right, Tom?
Well, but sometimes deservedly so. They get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Because I think.
Well, I came from a golden age of editors. I had great ones.
Yeah.
I had great ones. And they knew what to tell you because they had done it themselves.
Right.
So you couldn't lie to them, but then again, they understood your situation or your passion for something.
Right.
Archie Goodwin and Danny O'Neill, and they were terrific. Even their under guys were being trained in it. And now it's people come in from outside who proudly say they never read an issue of Swamp Thing, and they're doing a Swamp Thing project.
Doesn't that just make you
I married my editor's sister.
Yes. and that didn't give you a break on deadline, did it?
No.
Wait. Who? Wait, I don't know the story. What? Who did you marry?
Diana Schutz, longtime editor with Dark Horse and Kamiko. I married her middle sister.
There you go.
I did not know that.
She had tried for years to hook the two of us up, and we were both highly resistant.
Yeah.
And then we just met, and sparks flew, and that was all she wrote.
Yep.
Wow, so you just straight up translated that into Mage 2. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it is that exactly. Yep.
That's fantastic. I did not know that. Aiden, you've been awful quiet. I know you probably got a couple burning questions.
I do. I have a Dracula question.
Thank God. Enough of this Christmas shit.
Yeah, that's right. So something that strikes me so much about both of the volumes is how much you have added to it without ever feeling like anything was taken away or like shoved in there.
Yeah,
and I just was curious.
That was absolutely the goal, man. That was absolutely the guiding light. It had to be that.
Yeah,
we had to stay absolutely true to the canon, and yet there were things that needed expanding. But we weren't trying to fix anything. We were trying to keep it in conjunction with the existing tone and the existing words and these existing specifics.
Yeah, I just was curious how you went like with that approach. How did you decide when you were writing stuff where it's like, okay, this might be too far, but this is good, or like, because I know you took like the Skullamancy. It's like that was brilliant because it wasn't talked about. And you didn't step on any toes for anything, but you added so much depth to it.
Yeah, well, believe me, dude. That so what he's referring to there, for people that haven't read our first volume, it's all about Dracula's origins. And in the actual novel, Professor Van Helsing twice makes reference to the fact that when he was alive, Dracula attended something called the Scholomance, which is an actual Eastern European legend about a seminary for the dark arts that takes place high up in the mountains, and it's hosted by Satan himself. And if each session is a tenure of 7 years, and he takes on 10 scholars to become trained in necromancy. And I was just like, shit, why has nobody ever done anything with this? Dracula went to a school for sorcery before he was a vampire, And the approach I took was that explains why he seems so much more powerful than any other vampire we see in the book. We don't see that many other vampires in the book, but mainly they tend to follow the example that we see in Carmilla, like Kell's talking about there, the seductive powers, the ability to kind of turn into a mist and kind of transmorph through things. Dracula can command the weather. Dracula can turn into animals. He can command animals. So my approach was, well, that's all shit he learned at the Scholomance. That's in addition to his vampiric powers. Additionally, then in book 2, we have this sequence in the novel which is so indelible, where the 3 brides show up. They're not called the brides in the book, but they are these 3 vampiric women that live in Dracula's castle and show up when Jonathan Harker kind of foolishly wanders out of the prescribed areas that Dracula's told him to remain within. And it's obvious they're, at least his consorts, and he definitely made them. He turned them. And they are so, again, their appearance is so indelible. They show up in so many different film versions. And they're in the novel for 3 pages.
Yeah.
And, there's not much details about them. The only detail is that one of them is blonde where the other ones are dark, and the blonde one seems to be of a slightly higher social class because the other ones defer the first feeding to her. Yours is the right to go first, and I just thought, well, we need to find out about these women. We need to find out who they were when they were alive, and that was a delicious challenge, coming up with these 3 different women and coming up with 3 different reasons why Dracula would want them, why he would turn them. 'Cause boobs, yeah, fuck off. That's only a reason.
2 reasons.
But the key was to make them 3 very distinct women, and then show what it means to be trapped in a castle with these 3 things that you created,
Yeah.
That was the great part of the Brides, is watching Dracula's evolution through them. That's what I really enjoyed about, like I said, that little section of expanding who they were. I mean, it really moved Dracula into the point of being the Count. I mean, I loved how you used that as a way of stepping up the evolution of him.
Yeah. Well, and Mike, that was another practical thing. Why is he a Count? Yeah. Who appointed him a Count? When he was alive, he was known as a voivode, which is a Romanian term for basically war prince, a warlord. Yeah. Well, it would take somebody on the Hungarian throne or some much higher aristocrat to grant him that title. Nobody probably did that before. They wouldn't have done that after he became a vampire. So how's he get the turn? Well, it turns out he just adopts it himself for his own use, because he's going to England and he knows England is very class conscious. And he also very strategically decides that, well, if I call myself a prince, that might attract a little too much attention. If I'm a count or an earl or a baron, I can kind of wander around, and fit in a little better. That'll open some doorways, haha, and and I won't really be attracting too much undue attention.
Yeah.
And it was
Marcus
so brilliant.
Buckland says, and that's why Mr. Wagner is one of the best. Thanks for hanging out with us, Marcus.
And it was so brilliant how you use that, because I love the way that you have characterized Dracula to where he is just this absolute monster.
Yeah.
And he's unrepentant and everything, but he's got these weird glimmers of almost kind of human side, to where it's in the Brides where he felt like he owed something to them for creating them.
Yeah.
And it's it's a horrible kind of manipulative thing too. But
also that's not tenderness. That's not tenderness. That's more his megalomania. That's I created this. It will not fail. It will not wither.
Yeah, and it's just so smart the way you do that, to where it's he's almost. I mean, he's harming himself almost to what's he goes without blood, and it's that's for an arrogant reason too, because he thinks he can do it.
Yep.
By the way, Kelley, he's mine.
Yeah, you trained him well.
Matt knows, but I'll tell Kelley he's mine, so I'm proud of him.
Yeah, so. Aiden always has a lot of good questions.
Yep.
Thank you.
You get all the good shit, Aiden.
Thank you.
He lives in Mike's castle.
That's right. Yeah.
Speaking of though, and Kelley, I just wanted to say too, one of the most striking bits in that I love one thing, your bat form that you do, that half human, half bat thing. That's awesome. And I love the way that you depicted old man Dracula at the end of that book, because I felt like I've seen that in so many different things, and you figured out a new way to do it.
Yeah. And he really looks decrepit.
So striking.
Yeah. The good thing of Matt's scripts are they evoke imagery when I'm reading them before I even try anything out. I like to let the moment strike. And when he did Dracula that old, I kept thinking how weary he must be, kind of, stretched out, waste, he's poured himself out for all those years, and to not have a direction. And
especially for somebody who always thought he had direction.
Yes. And
he always thought he had plans, but his need for companionship kind of derailed a lot of that.
Yeah, it did. He was still thinking like a human when he isn't. So it was something where I just drew him weathered by time. It's haunting. It was just he at that point. It gives a different look to him too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something that would
different posture, different stance.
Yeah, the whole
language.
time.
Yep.
The whole time. Yeah. It's like I said, there's so much that the scripts evoke that I think don't make it a one note read. It changes and adds, and it's what Matt was saying earlier about comics when we did them in the 90s. They were organic, and you just did them, and a month later they were on the stands, and that's how it feels. It's a very organic creation we're doing.
So I have a question about process, which is, so Matt writes a script and Kelley draws it, but how tight are you in the between times? Like when Matt's working on the script and Kelley's doing the art, what are you guys doing to each other?
I was talking to somebody the other day about how when Kelley's pencils come in, number one, they're always like even better than I could have hoped for them to be. So that's just joyous, believe me. But you know, then I'll go through and, you know, it's just a byproduct of how the translation works. I'll go through and I'll shift things around. Like I'll look at my script and say, oh, I need to bump that balloon from panel 4 to panel 3. Just because of the way Kel's drawn it, it's going to look better in panel 3. You know, it's going to fit better. It matches the way he's drawn it better. So that's always kind of my last polish is just bumping things around here and there. And generally there's not much of it, but on occasion it's like, well, that needs to move. But, you know, during the process too, you know, I kind of act as editor on the book as well. Yeah. And my whole thing is always, you know, it's there at the tail end of my creation and at the very root of my creation, which is story is what matters. And you know, I'll say to Kel, well, this part here doesn't work, and it's not due to the way you drawn it. You drew it beautifully, but it doesn't work for this storytelling reason. Yep. Do you see what I'm talking about? And generally he's always like, oh, yep, I see what you're talking about. Yeah. For instance, the page 1 of book 1, we went through 4 different versions of that. I had written a description. He drew it looking like that. And I came back and said, yeah, dude, I don't think this is working this isn't the chord we want to strike here, you know, and tried another one and that one didn't quite. And finally we ended up with the perfect one, you know, but it takes both of us being open, you know, me saying, okay, I guess I didn't describe that correctly, or I wasn't getting there. Right. And him saying, well, you're right about, you know, this storytelling moment, you know, and I get what you want. You know, we with for instance, the covers, Kelley's inclination is to be very, very, very illustrative, and he's magnificent at it. But I kept trying to pull us back to, with the covers, keeping it big and iconic and symbolic more than illustrative. And he was still getting all his beautiful illustrative details in there, but on all 3 of the covers, they are more almost a design piece more than an illustrative piece. And that, to my mind, was, again, there's so much Dracula shit in existence. You know, we had to strike these big, bold images to snag people's attention. You know, if it's just another portrait of Dracula looking like Dracula, been there, done that.
I didn't go into this thinking it's going to be what I want. I wanted it to be the new thing that Matt was writing, and I don't care for ego in other people, so I don't really carry it. I mean, you have to have enough to have the balls to put something out there, but I don't care if it's the thing I always tell Matt. It's the thing Stanley Kubrick says: you either care or you don't. And Matt cares, and I care. So
and as a result, we were just talking about this to somebody else the other day too. We both feel like we are enjoying a collaborative harmony that is right up there with the most classic examples. You know, I mean, when you look at comics, there's this succession of just pitch perfect teams
Yeah.
You know, and they show up every so often, you know. Yeah. And generally, you know, they show up and they don't last.
Right.
They dissolve for whatever reasons. But, you know, Lee and Kirby and Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams and Steve Englehart and Marshall Rogers and Claremont and Byrne and Miller and Mazzucchelli and, you know, we all have examples in all of our minds, I'm sure, you know. And I just feel like we're playing in that same orchestra right now. You know, we're
the better part.
We're filling in each other's sections just so seamlessly. And it's like there is no Kelley and there's no me. There's us. You know,
the best part is it's coming at this part of our career, not at the beginning.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So
that is shocking.
It's that's the difference. And so, like I said, my wife always says to me that she's never seen me this happy working in 35 years. And
wow.
And she said,
and that says something, right?
Yeah, it is, because she's a civilian. All she knows is my moods. Like I'll come out of my studio and that's it. I don't draw anywhere but my studio. So I don't talk it, I don't do it or whatever. She just knows up or down. And she's like saying, never leave Matt. So
and I can really tease my wife by going, it's Dracula.
Yeah.
Marcus Buckland says, and you succeeded.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Wolfman and Perez. Yep.
Wolfman and Perez.
Yeah.
Wolf. I would say Wolfman and Gene Colan on Tomb of Dracula. Yep.
Yeah, that's a hell of a run, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. We probably got
Jodorowsky and Mobius. I mean, you know, the list just kind of stretches all over the world. Kojima and Kazuki, Lone Wolf and Cub. You know, I mean,
With two crowdfunders behind you and the third one very successful, on an off Dracula topic, do you see yourself doing more crowdfunders in addition? Well, sorry, instead of doing traditional publishing.
Geez, I don't know. That's the path will reveal itself. You know, that the crowdfunding just seemed right for this project. Like I don't feel like I'll probably ever take Grendel to crowdfunding. You know, but who knows? Maybe it will.
Not even like some sort of omnibus collection sort of thing.
Like a mage. You know,
perhaps.
I always hoped through Orlock. Because we're
definitely going to do some other Orlock things. Yeah. Like we hope to expand Orlock Press to where it's not just us. Like we would take on other people and basically nurture their project under our banner, you know?
Yeah, I've always
That's
thought
awesome.
Matt should write for other artists because I can only handle one thing. And if he wanted to, I thought it would be a great idea because it's a good system that we have. And,
I have actually been talking to somebody. So
there you go. So, nice. And I'm very encouraging of that. I think, it's a good place to create, but it's a good philosophy we've got going.
But since we're talking about publishing and Orlock and all that, we've had many requests for, and we will definitely be doing artist editions, the big full size black and white versions. Probably be doing that in 2 volumes. So books 1 and 2 would be in the first volume. Books 3 and 4 would be in the second volume. With book 4, the next one, which will be next year, we'll almost certainly be offering a slipcase that will fit all 4 volumes.
Oh, nice.
And then, of course, we'll be doing a big fatty, knock you out tome after all 4 volumes are done. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead and send you my money now.
My wall is bleeding now.
Yeah.
So do you like being in control? This is a stupid question, I guess, but do you prefer being in charge of your own destiny at this point?
I felt like I've always been that. Again, I've been involved in independent publishing for so long. My books look the way I want them to look. No editors ever told me, on Mage or Grendel. It's all I decide. It just feels like this whole crowdfunding thing is kind of the next model.
Yeah.
The next business model for that, And again, I don't know if it'll fit every project I do from now on, but it feels right for this one, and obviously has worked out well for us too. So
yeah,
I like it just for the freedom of it. I mean, all the business stuff you got to do is a headache, and I just give it to my wife to do.
Yeah, his wife is our Renfield.
Yeah, but the freedom is everything. I think that's what I see when I look at it. Is if there's things that make it shine, it's because I didn't have to worry about somebody who's not involved saying no or that's too far.
Yeah, there's literally none of that. I'll call Kel and say, hey, what do you think about this? Sounds great. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it also sounds like
involved.
It also sounds like as a freelancer though, you now have basically a staff job with none of the hassles of a staff job because you know what you're going to be doing for the next 12 months.
Yeah,
you know what you're going to be doing 12 months after that.
It's the best part of my career is right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and there again, how many comic artists can say that in their 60s?
Yeah.
That's
right.
A rare
breed. And this question here,
comics tend to eat you up, you know.
Yes, they do. And Marcus says, any more collaborations in the future? And that was kind of going to be my question. Once you guys finish Dracula, have you already? Because you're already 3/4 done. Have you started conversations about what are we going to do after Dracula? Are we going to do anything?
If Matt thinks of something, certainly. I mean, I leave it up to Matt.
Never truly die.
Yeah, I mean,
we have from the very beginning. I had an idea for 4, and our very first phone conversation, I said to Kelley, "Look, I got an idea for 4 graphic novels. Here's the rudimentary breakdown, and we have an idea for something cool after." That I can't really talk about yet.
Okay.
But then if I get more ideas to continue Dracula's tale, because let me just say this in regards to book 4, because people are wondering, well, if you're doing, if book 3 takes place the same time as the novel ends up with him getting killed.
What happens in 4?
What the hell's going to be in book 4? It's going to be a bunch of blank pages. Well, throughout the novel, Van Helsing talks at length about how you fight a vampire, what a vampire's powers are, how you kill a vampire, and in the grand finale, which is a big action movie chase, they don't really kill him that way. They don't quite kill him in the way that he is prescribed, and it happens just as the sun is going down. What a lot of people don't know that haven't read the novel is that sunlight doesn't kill Dracula. That's an invention of Nosferatu, the first unauthorized film version, which kind of melded the story with Germanic fairy tales. And in Germanic fairy tales, you have trolls that turn into stone when the sun comes up. In the book, Dracula can wander around in the daylight, no problem. He's just not. He doesn't have his full vampiric powers. And I don't know how well any of you remember the Francis Ford Coppola version from '92 or '3. That's one of the things it gets very right. When Gary Oldman as Dracula first meets Winona Ryder as Mina, it's on the streets of London in broad daylight. But when they attack him, the sun is just slipping down over the mountains. So the sun goes down, his full vampiric powers return, and he disappears.
And they don't kill him in the Chekhov's gun way.
No, they don't. Yep, they don't. They don't quite kill him the way Van Helsing has been saying over and over again. This is the way you do it,
Yeah.
So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good tease.
Yes. As always happens, our clock has run through. You guys, any last questions before we? Anything we didn't ask you guys that you said, well, why didn't they ask this? So here's what we really wanted to say.
Well, the campaign again wraps up on October 30th, All Saints Day, Halloween Eve. And again, you can buy all 3 copies in hardcover, both print and digital versions from the current campaign. There's other cool stuff. There's some merch. There's a very expensive premium rewards tier is some original art by both Kelley and I. Some pieces that portraits of Dracula that Kelley has drawing, and I am painting coloring. So there's a peek at one of them.
It is right there.
Right.
And also, isn't it true that if they join now and back book 3, they'll be on the mailing list for updates on book 4?
Yes, of course. Yeah, we do very extensive updating, showing off new stuff that we feel comfortable showing. We alert you previous to the launch, hey, book 4 is coming. You're going to get the notice. Just want to let you know, we do try and keep very up to date with our backers.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And I put the link in the chat for all of you listening now. I put the link there so that you can go over to Kickstarter and take a peek at that and pick a level out. You don't want to miss out on this if you hadn't gotten it already. You don't want to miss out on this. Let
me just describe real quick there what we're looking at in that center frame there. We always offer 3 versions of the book. So the one in the middle features Kelley's main cover art. The one on the left features my variant cover art, and then we offer the black and white cover on the side. The right side is the limited signed and numbered edition. So you can choose from 3 different variations of the book itself,
depending on who you like best,
and what your budget is.
Yeah.
Highly collectible, I say.
Yes, there you go. There you go.
Kelley's done some looking around recently, and
I have a lot of friends.
Don't go up on eBay very much.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends, store owners and retail whatnot, and they just say it never shows up. And if it does, it goes for a lot. If they even see one, most of them have never seen any of the hardcovers show up.
Nice.
Wow.
But you can still get them from us.
You still can.
Yep. I got one right here. I don't know. Mike's got a copy. So we not only. Yep, there you go. Mike's got his copy. So not only do we appreciate you guys coming on. We are backers of your projects as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So you guys, everyone, listen. Jump on over to Kickstarter. Back book 3 of Dracula from Matt and Kelley, and you won't be sorry. Matt, Kelley, y'all hang out for a few minutes after we're done.
Sure.
Anybody? Oh, hold on. I gotta get. I forgot. I almost forgot this. On Tuesday. What? Tom?
You've done this before?
Yeah, I know. On Tuesday. I get excited when we have some cool guests, right? Why do horror parodies sell? A panel of professional comic creators discuss the genre of horror parody. Why do fans like seeing their favorite medium as a horror book or movie? How can you make your favorite story spooky? That is Tuesday. On Wednesday, the Wednesday Whammers are going to be talking about comics and media. Come join the Wednesday Wham panel to chat about the influence of comics on media and vice versa. Next Sunday, we will return, of course, minus Kelley and Matt. We're going to be talking about pitches, red flags and green flags. You want to sell that blockbuster story you've been working on? What are some red flags and what are some green flags in your pitches? The Silver Sunday team will talk about some of those. We will talk about that next week. So bring your questions. Until next time. Wait. Let me find it here. Remember to always make mine Silverline. Good night, everyone.
Hi, I'm Dave Dorman. Make mine Silverline.